I've been a teacher for 16 years. In that time, I've given away over to a variety of different causes. No, I'm not some angelic philanthropist, a member of a cult, or a crazy person. In fact, I've done it for largely selfish reasons.
Want to know the magic number? Watch until the end and I'll reveal the perfect giving target to aim for.
Hey everyone, Matt here from Family Money School. Last year, 56% of Americans donated to charity, with the average person giving $574. And not surprisingly, according to Experian, the average level of consumer debt is close to $100,000, ringing in at a shocking $96,371. Not surprising, because this means two things. 44%, or 146 million people, are missing out on the incredible benefits of generosity. And that same number of people aren't experiencing the type of financial freedom that comes with generous giving. Now, I said I'd given for selfish reasons, and it's true, but let me explain. First, you need to understand that I was raised in a very religious home. I have awesome parents. My mom is a nurse, my dad is a pastor. In fact, my first Sunday on this earth was spent in church, as were many Sundays after that. Now, my parents' faith impacted everything we did. So I was raised to follow the principles of wholesome living laid out in the Bible. And one of these was to always give generously. From an early age, I can remember my parents giving each of us a quarter and instructing us to place it in the offering plate when it was passed by. As we got older and I started making my own money from an allowance and later different jobs, my parents encouraged me to follow the biblical principle of tithing. Now, tithing is really pretty simple. The Bible instructs people to give 10% of their income back to God. I say give back because as a Christian, I believe that all I have is a direct or indirect result of God's blessing. And I give as a visible expression of my gratitude to Him for all that He's given to me, and as an expression of my faith that He will continue to meet my needs. But giving isn't just for people of faith. Money stress is sky high right now, with inflation making everything more expensive, recessions being forecast by nearly all financial pundits, and the need to take out a second mortgage just to fuel your vehicle. In fact, one recent survey noted that 60% of people have lost sleep because of worries over money. But it doesn't have to be that way. And the magic bullet to avoid the stress and worry about money that plagues millions is summed up in one surprising word: bacon. Yep, bacon. If you've never heard of money expert Francis Bacon, get in line, because neither had I until a little while ago. Bacon was a 16th century English writer, scientist, and philosopher, and it turns out a money expert. It was Bacon who said, "Money is a good servant, but a poor master." His medieval quote is both beautifully relevant today and tweetable. In 43 characters, that is the problem with money. If you don't master it, it will master you. But how can you learn to master your money? I mean, how do you escape its hold? And we can't deny that it's necessary for meeting many of our everyday needs. Well, turns out Bacon has an answer for that as well. Who knew Bacon could make you so wise? Because it was Bacon who said, money is like manure. It's only good if you spread it around. Now, Bacon wasn't talking like some high-minded rich guy looking down on people from his castle. Having fallen into deep debt, lost his job, and with his marriage on the rocks due to his financial troubles, wasn't like he was a medieval version of Bill Gates or Warren Buffett. And yet that was his advice. Like I said, Bacon was a philosopher. So I'm guessing, unlike you or I, he didn't feel the social pressure to go to the gym when he started getting a little soft around the middle, or to have soccer practice to rush his kids to after school. He had lots of time to think. And since his finances were such a disaster, I'm sure the topic of money was often at the forefront of his mind. So why tell us that the solution to our money problems was to give it away? Bacon understood that there is no middle ground when it comes to money. It's a great servant, but a terrible master. Either you own it or it owns you. You're either its master or its slave. He realized that in order to break free from the money trap that can consume us with worry, you actually have to let go of your money. He understood what close to half of all Americans haven't, that the key to avoiding money stress isn't actually having more cash. It's having less. And to experience true financial freedom, you have to be able to give your money away. Now, to understand how to find freedom by letting go of your money, you need to learn how to hunt monkeys. Random, I know, but stick with me. I promise it relates. Kalahari Bushmen have an ingenious method they use to trap baboons. It involves drilling a hole in an enormous anthill and hollowing out a small cavity inside. Wild melon seeds are then pushed down the hole and into the hollow to attract the incurably inquisitive baboons. And then they wait. The curious baboons smell the seeds and come over to investigate further, eventually sticking their long arms into the hole to grab a fistful of the delicious seeds. And he's trapped. Now, all the monkey has to do is let go of the seeds and he'll be free. But he refuses. He'd rather be trapped with his fist tightly clenched around the object of his desire than to be free. It's easy to look down on little Mr. Monkey and think, what a silly animal. Just let go and be free. But how many of us are like this? How many of us are holding on so tightly to our money and our stuff and being just downright greedy and stingy that our desire for money is actually what's trapping us? This internal battle is something that I regularly struggle with. For my wife and I, we look around at our friends, colleagues, and neighbors taking sweet vacations, doing gorgeous home renovations, and driving flashy cars. More than once, we've talked about how if we didn't give as much, we'd have more money to do those things. I mean, I'm not some pious do-gooder who's taken a vow of poverty and donates an insane amount of my income every year. Giving for me is not always an easy choice. Every once in a while, when money is tight or when we have to save up to make a purchase or we can't afford to do a home reno on our timeline, I am definitely tempted to start doing the math in my head. I just can't let my mind go there because when I do, I can get jealous and resentful real quick. But after taking a couple of minutes and thinking it through, the words of Frankie Bacon start ringing in my ears. Money is a good servant, but a poor master. When I reframe my giving as a choice between being a slave to money and finding financial freedom, it's a no-brainer, and it makes it way easier for us to give as a couple. And it's this elusive freedom that people are endlessly chasing after. The freedom that comes from not only being the master of your money, time, and stuff, but from being extravagantly generous with all these things as well. Because when you get to a place when you are so the master of your money that you can actually give it away and do it joyfully, well, you know that you have fully arrived at financial freedom. And the selfish reasons I give don't end with freedom and contentment. No, generosity has many other scientific-backed benefits as well. It improves your health. There are countless studies that have demonstrated that giving both of your time and your money will give you a higher overall level of health. This means things like lower blood pressure, less anxiety and depression, lower risk of heart disease, and even the ability to manage your pain. When it comes to your health, generosity is the magic pill to a healthier life.
You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland.
Not only that, but generosity makes you happier. People who are generous are much happier than the Scrooges among us. That's because our brains are hardwired to reward generosity. When you give, your brain releases happiness chemicals like dopamine, endorphins that release feelings of pain, and oxytocin, commonly referred to as the tranquility hormone. In one study, people who were givers experienced much higher levels of joy and contentment than those who were stingy. At the end of the day, giving to others gives you rewards that buying a new phone or checking out your Instagram feed never can. Now, it also can lower your stress. Think about the people in your life who are generous and those who are stingy. Who's more stressed out? The Scrooges for sure. Research has shown that when people are stingy, their heart rates go up and they feel more stress from feeling guilty. Translation, being generous keeps your stress low, your body healthier, both of which can even help you live longer. And side benefit, it can reduce your taxes as well. Okay, so this is a direct financial benefit to being generous. But who doesn't like giving less of their hard-earned income to the government? When you give to registered charities, you can reduce the amount of income the government taxes. That means the government takes less of your cash, meaning you can give or save even more. So when I said I gave for largely selfish reasons, I wasn't kidding. I give because it's good for me. It's good for my spirit, it's good for my body, and it's good for my mind. It's also good for the people, organizations, and ministries that I'm giving to.
So regardless of the specific amount you give, which will be different for everyone, giving generously of what you've received is a complete no-brainer.
But not everyone gives with these things in mind. In fact, one of YouTube's biggest stars, Mr. Beast, has a massive secret behind his enormous giveaways. And in the next video, I'll expose exactly what it is. I'll see you there.